why the West claims that every nation in the world is not part of the Western Empire except for USA. But they still call themselves the West. They still accept that term. Even though they're not the West, they're the Northeast, South, West, and everywhere in between. Why is it that only USA is the West when it comes to any problem in the world? Well, first of all, USA is a scapegoat. And we can look up the word scapegoat and figure out where that comes from. And we can link that to everything I could talk about in this video. It comes from the Bible. And who is it? Who is the West? What have they been doing? Well, they left the Middle East and then they conquered Europe, and then from there they conquered South Africa, and they tried to conquer most of South America. They conquered North America. They conquered Australia, and they conquered lands surrounding Asia. And of course, like if it's Europe, we're right beside Russia. This all ties in together. I mean, I could go on for hours here and stuff. But why is it that you see this, like, everyone's, like, scapegoating USA for every problem in the world today? You know, it's cool, it's cute, it's trendy. But it allows them, like, a way out. Like, they've always had these way outs. They always have this way out. And like Australia is like you're friends with China now, and friends with India, and you know this Europe is sitting back like we don't know what's going on. It's like literally, if you believe in history, USA was created by people. It is people from Europe. Now, if you travel the nation, you might see something else. And if you look at European history, you might question who are the Europeans. You might get banned if you're one of the most famous black metal musicians to found the musical industry. You might get insulted by them in movies and books like Lords of Chaos, where they completely defame you and make you something else other than the psycho killer you probably are. So, you know, that person speaks of that stuff. They claim that Europe was invaded and genocided a long time ago. And but they're not part of the media here. They're not the real empire. They're not the shadow empire here that has been conquering things for a long time, for thousands of years, and has control of almost everything you can see. But the USA, is that the West? USA is the West of what? USA is west of Europe. USA is west of the Middle East, and they haven't taken over the Middle East. USA is west of Antarctica, right? And I think they've taken that over. I've not been there, but I heard you get killed and you're not allowed to go there. So, probably, like, not too hospitable for a person who wants to travel and see stuff. But every place in the world is not the West except for USA. So why does anyone call it the West if it's just USA? And it's simple. It's how it's done. That's how it's all about mind games and word games. They create the literacy, the grammar, the language, and then they use it against people who don't understand it. You're not like very literate. You don't understand language a lot. This is what they prey upon. Maybe you do. But this is like, you can tell like how their other operations work. That this is how it works. Like they're literally like preying upon people. And they're like, oh, you're too stupid to read, you're too stupid to think, you're too stupid to do anything, but you got to go to work and build our cities for us. Obviously not too stupid to do that. That's a matter of opinion, possibly, but that's the role for everyone, is to build it, not think about it, not talk about it, not read about it. But the USA is being scapegoated. It's the West. Why don't we just? Has it ever been called anything but USA? If it's nothing else, what is this West thing? The West thing is Northeast, Southwest. It's South Africa. It's USA. It's many parts of Europe. It's definitely the UK. And I guess Japan might be part of the West now, and South Korea might be part of the West now, and maybe Vietnam might be part of the West now. Israel is definitely the West. It's like the capital of the West, but no one relates that. You can see the other world media; they're all scared to talk about it. Even Putin. Putin's like bombing this Israeli dual citizen Zelensky, and he's not talking about it. And someone executed the owner of Russia Today, who is a dual citizen as well. And I for a while just assumed, I didn't know really what was going on, but now I think he probably executed him on American soil, because he wanted to send a message and stuff that he was killing off these oligarchs who ran his nation and stuff, and took over his media and all this stuff. Although RT never showed signs of understanding much of that. But this West thing, man, this is part of that word game, that deception thing. And they use that to conquer people. They'd be like, well, we've got this great religion of ours, and our God loves the world. And if you don't accept him, we have to kill you, because our God has commanded us to kill people. Kill Satan, who doesn't believe in him. It's these word games over and over. Same thing. So that's what's going on. That's why no nation is the West except for USA, because it makes a good scapegoat. You just cancel the West, or USA. You cancel USA, and everyone in the world's like, yay, the West is gone. It's like, what did the West ever mean? Why did we ever say anything other than USA if we're using the word West? What's the whole thing here? We forgot there was something else. And you can easily see the other nations of the West are like, oh, it's all USA and all this stuff, and it's like, oh no, I don't think it's quite that simple. But I think the propaganda is that simple to understand how it works. You point fingers one direction. You're like, that's the bad apple over there. That 80-year-old man in a wheelchair hanging out over there on the respirator machine. He's the New World Order. He's controlling the world. It's George Soros. He's in his wheelchair. He's rolling over everyone with his wheelchair. He's just running the world over in his wheelchair. And you get rid of George Soros, who's about to die, in a couple of years already. You just be like, oh, he's evil. And then George Soros is like, yeah, I'm evil. And then you get rid of him, and the entire West is gone. Does George Soros even live in the United States? That seems to be exactly how it's played. It's simple. Everything here is really simple and really easy to understand. And we see things, and we want to look into it deeper and further. There's more to it. When you see someone like Jeffrey Epstein or I was going to say Zelensky, but I think I was I was thinking of some other serial killer. And when we see these people, we're just like, oh, they're evil. It's like, if you want to hate the Nazis, like there's 4 Nazis. 4 people took over the entire world. Hitler and Goebbels. Hell, I think to most people it's 2 people. So we scapegoat them. We're like, the 2 evil people in the world. They're the ones who did everything in the planet. They're the evil people. But I thought there was like 14 billion people on the planet. So there's like this old dude in a wheelchair. And he's rolling around in his wheelchair. And he's I don't know, he's tossing his Geritol at people and knocking them unconscious or something. I don't know how he takes it over. He must be really good at aiming pills at people's heads or something. But I don't buy into that stuff. The West in the USA, this is like easy to see, but they're not going to point it out because it's like they're kind of all like working towards that direction. I suppose maybe the internet is exactly what it was created as. The government gave it to the people to destroy them as a weapon of war. So maybe it's all seriously isolated, and the Chinese media I can get a hold of, because I can't get a hold of any Russian media. That's all blocked. The Chinese media, maybe that's not really Chinese. Maybe the India media is not really India, especially considering some of it says it's stationed in Washington, D.C. And then they use the word West, but they're never talking about anything except for the USA. And it's like, what does this word West mean then? What is this? You're west of where? You're west of Europe? So, if there's an actual globe, then you're also east of people as well. You're technically east of Asia. So, USA is like east of China and east of Russia, right? Did I get my directions right on that? And they're actually west of Europe. And Europe would be west of Russia and west of China, and India would be west of Russia and west of China, and Africa would be west of China and west of Russia. South America would be west of Africa, and it's not confusing word games. It's like played out and written out and controlled. So it's not confusing at all. It's just the simple fact that it's stated, and it's stated as facts, and that's all that's allowed to be stated. So the USA, are they the West? No. They're like a new capital of the West. And supposedly they're the UK, and then they went over here, and then they broke free of the UK and created a whole other nation. And so where did Australia come from? They broke free of the UK, and they went to the east, and they created a new nation. And where did South Africa come from? What did they broke free of the UK, and then they went down to South Africa, and they created the land of the free and home of the brave in South Africa. And then they broke free of UK recently, and they went to Kazakhstan, and they liberated Kazakhstan, and now Kazakhstan is the home of the free, home of the brave, and all these crazy things. But where is the West? What is the West really like? Is there a chart out there? If I had my little thing. If I had my setup still, I'd like make a little chart showing you, and I think I did when I had a few devices left. I think I did like point out on a map the locations, but I didn't call it that. I said these are the strategic war bases surrounding nations that they are preparing for war against, and obviously they're surrounding China, they're surrounding Russia. They can't quite surround Russia because the land's too cold to the north for anyone to really live in. So it's mostly Asia and stuff that has been surrounded. And then it's like the Middle East has been surrounded and stuff. Not fully, because Africa is not fully taken over, at least that I know of. And then Egypt, stuff like that, and that I know of, is not fully taken over. But what is this? What's the goal here to to have a Western empire, and then whenever the Western Empire media talks about the West, they're only talking about USA.